Deepak Bhootra or Jubliani Consulting. And the title of his presentation, he's coined a new phrase from AI to AGI, seeding sales longevity. So he's piqued my curiosity there. You're all in for a treat. And Deepak, take it away.
Sure. So you should
There it
see a
is.
nice little tree with some shiny stuff floating around in it, correct?
Yeah, sure can.
Okay, perfect then. So this has been really interesting. Gerald, I started off coming onto the call and I've been listening to the talk, and I want to actually personalize this a little bit just to make sure. Now, there are people on this call thinking, well, I'm not in sales. This dude's going to bore me. No, I'm not going to bore you. I want you to just think for a second about the role that you do. Each and every one is on this call because they have a role and they're affiliated to AI in some context, right? So what I want you to do is I just want you to simplify this thought process. Every time I talk about a role called sales, just put yourself in those shoes and think about the impact of AI to yourselves. Fair? We can do that, correct? Now, from my background, I am one of those guys that had too much time and energy on his hands. I got 4 degrees from 4 countries. I carry a different passport. I was born in a different country. I'm a permanent resident of a different place. I'm in the US as a permanent resident. People ask me, what's home? I'm a global citizen. I have worked with salespeople across countries, across cultures. And there's one thing I've learned to appreciate. I really think that sales is a noble profession. Now, I have exactly 15 minutes in which to convey that message, but I also need to connect the dots back to AI and what's happening with it, right? Now, for me, I've always been a data-oriented person. I have done structural equation modeling in college. My doctorate degree was very quantitative. I had a lot of fun. And along the way, I actually realized that we are now in a very different stage of things and events. Today, this is what I call democratization of the nth order. You had a time when if I wanted to do something, I need to know coding. Today, I have 16, 17, 14-year-old kids. I have my dad literally putting together some things and telling me, hey, look, I just did some vibe coding. And it's amazing to see what's happening out there, right? Now, I came on this call and Mary really got me a bit emotional when she was talking about her vision and where she sees AI going and how we need to remember the human in the loop. For me, it's actually very different. People tell me that, hey, Deepak, will AI save us or will AI replace us? And here's my answer to that. And it's a very simple answer. AI is just a tool. Stop. I think people are getting confused. People are looking at this tool and thinking it's the end. It's not, it's the means to the end, right? And look, Jordan Wilson mentioned that the tool is failing, right? I think we've heard multiple people telling us that there's MIT studies and so on telling us that 95% of Gen I pilots are collapsing and stuff. Look, this is predictable. Those of us who are old enough with shiny bald spots can tell you we've been seeing this cycle for the last 30 years, right? Every time a new product comes out, technology comes out. The difference is this time the sheer depth and sheer impact of it. And I understand that and I respect it. Now, the deeper threat that's happening for sales is specifically as follows. It's not just the sales role that's impacted here. It's about salesperson's identity, and that's very important. When AI is writing your emails and is telling you about the next steps you need to take or how to fill out your CRM, a simple question. Wait. Where do I fit in all this? I mean, jobs are under threat. I've been watching all this stuff that AI comes in. If we have 100 salespeople, we can get the job done with 30. The rest of it can all become automated sales business development people. Sales professionals have always been under pressure. Now, can you just imagine what's going on right now? Let me give you a statistic that's going to blow your mind. By age 35, 35% of all salespeople will leave this profession. And they will leave it because they're burnt out. They cannot take it anymore. On Monday morning, they make their number. And on Wednesday afternoon, they lose a deal. And guess what? You're back to square one. Now, this is not a question about skill. This is about a question of long-term relevance. And AI brings in something very different here. My argument and the work that I do with salespeople is pretty simple. Everyone just take your hands, just take your finger, just put it right here and just press hard on this little thing that you have called your brain. And I assure you that's all that really matters right now. If AI is just a tool, then the pursuit that I'm after is to convince salespeople that they are what I call AGI or augmented intelligence, not AGI as an agentic and so on, right? I'm just different. I'm not a product or a tool guy. I am a user, and I do not want to be relegated as a user. I'm not the human in the loop, I am the loop. And I just want everyone to understand that, right? And people and culture matter, and Tyrone called it out as well, right? My job is pretty simple. I want AI to become AGI from a salesperson's point of view. I want that person to understand, and everyone on this call, that it's not about erasing the human, it's about amplifying the human. My goal is to turn AI from a replacement into a force multiplier, and it's in how you use it, how you think about it, right? Now, I'm going to cover tactical ideas and concepts, and I'm going to get into what I think managers should be doing from a sales point of view. But I want you to keep an open mind and listen to this, right? You got to understand, I'm going to talk about us stop reacting, and I want to talk about us evolving. Ultimately, that's the significance to sales longevity. When you're already in a function which is under immense threat, and you have a very high statistical probability of exiting at a young age, then you really need to ask yourself, how do I use AI then to my advantage or my benefit, convert to AGI to increase sales longevity? And if anyone thinks this is not a noble pursuit, then let me give you a statistic. For every person that I can retain in the sales function beyond 35, and if I can keep that person for another 20 years, I deliver more than $5 million incremental earnings to that person. And of course, a certain level of salary, but that's a huge economic impact, right? There are more than 10 million salespeople in the US, and we're talking about a massive number. Every person on this call has got a role to play. And if anyone's an entrepreneur on this call, trust me, you're all sellers. You're all selling. You don't know it yet. Now, I have 20 slides. I really need to get through them. I want to make sure that I give my message very clean as possible, right? The preamble was to set the tone. To me, AI is not about black and white. It's not about whether I need to automate it or I need to become obsolete from it. That's just too simplistic. What we're saying is that when you as a salesperson start looking at AGI or augmented intelligence, you're shifting the conversation. You're going to try to amplify yourself. You're going to do the right work, not just more work. It's not about delegating to AI. It's about having AI as in your back, pushing you forward, right? Not a headwind, a tailwind per se. The goal is that we've got judgment coming from AI. AI is good at surfacing insights. It's gone beyond data, right? But the reality is that we need AI to amplify judgment. And judgment, whether you like it or not, and empathy, whether you like it or not, resides with the human in the loop. The human is the loop, like I said before, right? Now, the best reps in the future that will stand, will remain standing, are the ones that will not be automated. I guarantee you that much. Selling as a function is not going to go away. It will remain. It will change its form. It will change the way it is conducted. But human to human, belly to belly selling is a very powerful attribute. In fact, I predict that as we further amplify our value, you're going to realize that you and I will actually cherish the days when we could talk to human beings. Think about it, right? Now, for some reason, my slides are sticking. Just confirm that the slides are moved at your end, everyone. So everyone talks to me about what's this AGI, and I tell them it's augmented intelligence, and everyone gets confused. I just want to tell you where this idea came from. So I am not a science guy. I'm just not. Nor am I a non-traditionalist. But silver iodide is something that you use for cloud seeding, right? And Ag plus I, two elements, give you this compound. And that's where I actually got AGI from. For me, AI is, think of it as something that seeds the salesperson. Augmented intelligence, it's what happens when you seed things, right? You're seeding insight, you're getting clarity. Your reflection will lead to better outcomes. And at the end, all I'm simply saying is that AGI will set the stage because it's a catalyst. But the salesperson, you will still make the rain. That's what's going to happen over here. So the focus is that you are the person, you use AI at your terms, but you integrate it on a day-to-day basis. Now, here's the reality with sales. People keep telling me that with AI, sales is dying. My answer is sales has been dying for ages, ladies and gentlemen. We've been drowning in so much that's going on here. It's not about sales extinction problem. We actually have a sales overwhelm problem. I would argue that sales is the best place for AI to really support us. We are constantly on the move. We are under immense stress, immense pressure. We are juggling opportunities. And I can challenge anyone on this call who tells me that their deadlines are more severe. If you get 5 deals that have to go in on a Monday, trust me, the salesperson will make sure those deals go in on that Monday. What has happened though is that as sales as a function has traded quality for quantity, we've actually realized that we need to do something different. And this is what I am proposing with AGI. Look at that as a way to get things back. This is one way that salespeople can start filtering the noise and can hear the signal. Now, the deal is pretty simple. We are not drowning because we lack ability. We're drowning because we lack clarity. And clarity to me is a huge focus over here. And when you are looking at AI and you're augmenting it with your humanness, you are making sure that AI is not just doing the work for us, but it's clearing space to do it well and clearing space for you to think and get that clarity that you so deserve. I base this talk on some work that I've done with 8 of the best salespeople that I've ever worked with in my life. And I actually went back to these people and asked them a simple question: how do you use AI? It blew my mind. Each and every one of them has their own tech stack. All the companies out there, please be aware. You have a big problem. Bring your own AI is the shadow IT that you never thought of figured it out. Every RFP of yours, every customer communication is actually lying all over the place. Because, like I said, democratization, right? Every salesperson today has the power to use AI. Every salesperson has the right to be threatened by it, but the top guys are actually using it to become what I call AGI, right? And this is extremely critical. Now, AI is pretty cool the way it's being used in sales right now. It's great at the simple stuff. I am assuring you, I would argue that 70-80% of salespeople are writing prospecting emails using AI. They are summarizing their calls by the transcripts. I run my entire coaching practice on a hugely simple automated model. CRM fields are being automatically filled out. Most CRMs already have tons of AI information in it. But here's the fun part that I've been watching salespeople, right? They're actually scared because they know what's going to happen. AI is going to come to a point where things like pricing strategy, the reason behind the objection, the real connection between your solution and the business pain. Why are we not seeing AI being used there? Because AI is a threat. When you sell it to someone that AI is going to support you, replace you, then of course they're going to look at it. Change management is a huge area for salespeople, and people kind of forget that. Most projects that are failing, those 95% projects that fail, right, are actually failing because no one actually sat down and asked the salesperson, what exactly do you need or do you want? We got a couple of young people running around, a couple of $1,000. Let's create a couple of custom GPTs. Let's create a parallel infrastructure and figure things out. That's not a great way to do it. If you have a very bad process and you actually have a sales function that's running very bad, all you've done is you've automated chaos to the nth degree. Watch out for that. Right. Now, whether you like it or not, I have one solace that I have in this entire debate on sales. Selling will always belong to humans, and that's extremely critical. Now, what augmented intelligence is talking about is that salespeople don't always live in a script. Now, we have this perception that salespeople are script individuals, right? That they know how to handle 30 objections. The best books that sell are typically books like will tell you how to handle customer objections, how to price efficiently. The reality is that sales lives in a gray zone. When a buyer hesitates, when a buyer challenges your value, and when silence says more than words, where is AI in all that? AI is not going to understand it because there's tremendous ambiguity, right? You are now relying on AI to actually read a transcript post facto, and AI cannot understand the pauses. When you gave your price, the customer used a certain word or a certain pause or a certain emotion. AI cannot detect that unless there's something different going on. It's you. You know what's going on over there, right? Now, this structure where everyone thinks life is black and white is not true in sales at all. It's a gray. So sales, I've always said this to people, lives in the gray. And that's where AI working with the salesperson at the core and using AI to enhance your approach is going to be where you're going to see AGI shine. It helps you sense this nuance of what's going on, right? You can start weighing risk against the reward and you read the right tones, spot signals, and it's all about follow up. And that's extremely critical over here. Now, one thing that sales has as an advantage where I don't think AI is going to scale to is yet judgment always wins the moment. It's how you perform at a specific time. And your preparation to that moment is where I think AI can excel. But AI will not get you there. You, the salesperson, have to get yourself there. So I'm talking about more empathy. I'm talking about intent, hesitation, and tone. I would like salespeople to use AI in that context, focus on AGI as a thought process. It's about ownership. The sales function has got a Pareto crisis to it, right? 25% of salespeople make 80% of the number. I'm actually prepared to put this on the table that there's going to be a big change coming in the world of sales enablement. It's going to be around personalized coaching. It's going to be about strategic reflection, and we have to go beyond the so-called playbooks that we have. Reps need to develop their own judgment, but the managers also have to do something very different. Now, the future is going to be that coaching is going to change its context, right? AGI will help you understand why it happened and more importantly, tell you what to do next. This is a function of not more dashboards, but for managers actually using context and understanding how AGI is going to be deployed to understand the insight behind the pattern and the behavior that the salesperson is exhibiting. And this is not about grading reps. That's old school. That's how they used to do it in the 80s. It's about how to grow them by using this AGI, which is embedded into their psyche and understanding. And judgment is the ability to see that nuance. And this judgment is absolutely missing. And that's what becomes extremely critical in this conversation that I'm going to have right now. It's about clarifying thinking. At the end of the day, human beings need purpose to stay alive. And to me, AGI is taking AI to the next purpose, gives it purpose. It gives it an intent. And this is where your mental bandwidth is going to get freed up because now you actually understand how the ecosystem works and how you're leveraging that ecosystem. There's a lot of noise out there. The ability to focus is actually the greatest superpower. And you need to start thinking about beyond this quarter. You need to think about where are we going? What's the next steps over here? Career evolution is not going to be how it used to happen in the old days. Career evolution is going to be someone who's mastered AGI with AI as a sidekick and is actually ensuring the future is being created or co-created with them, not without them. Adaptability is going to be extremely critical. The pivots that you're going to see in your career going forward as a salesperson is going to be faster. They're going to require you to be smarter. They're going to require you to always be extremely clear and thinking. That simply means clear your agendas in your diaries, pass away the low level tasks to someone else, and develop speed with strategy. Again, I have one last thing to say here. Selling is still human. Whether you like it or not, you can automate the heck out of everything. You're not going to be automating a lot of stuff. You can have the documents flowing through, the conversations going through. But at the end of the day, people buy from trusted advisors. And trust is something that AI cannot give to you. Trust is earned by the human in the loop. This is what I call now the rebirth of real selling. And that's going to be very, very, very powerful. AGI is going to build confidence in reps about themselves, confidence in how to use AI in the way that they work. It's going to encourage curiosity because it's going to take the best representatives or the best reps out there to think differently about how they're approaching things. I look at my own impact in the work that I do. I have the ability to triple my hourly rate by 5 times because that's the value that my customers tell me I'm delivering to them. I'm not doing that. But the point I'm making is that AI working through the lens of AGI takes your thinking to the nth level to a different degree. And that's what I'm talking about. And the top sales reps and the count of salespeople is going to fall. But you're also going to see performance that's going to be out of sync if the rest of the gang does not catch up fast. The manager's role is very critical. A manager is now a multiplier. A manager is going to focus on identity and less on role. The role had a setback, but identity should never get a setback. And this is what AI is trying to do and should do. And this is where AGI comes in. I'm asking managers to use AI to understand the insights for coaching, understand this individual and his capability rather than his performance. And that change is coming, and it's coming quite dramatically in the way that AI is progressing. The future of sales is definitely not robotic. It's always going to be about real conversations. It's going to be about wins. It's about relational depth, the depth and relationship that you have with your customer. There's no strategy that's going to take that away. It's going to be very personal. It cannot be programmatic. That's not going to work at all. It's about authentic conversations. Look, let me wrap up over here. Everyone talks about man versus machine, and I'm telling you, please stop it. This is the human with the machine. That's why I like the augmented intelligence take. We started off this conversation with speakers who spoke about AI, agents, and changing the world. Then we had Dr. Castor talking about how healthcare is being impacted by AI. I think Mary brought it home for me when she became a bit personal and a bit transformational. And I'm now bringing it to the end. And in that context, I'm just telling you, every person on this call has a role. Every person is going to be threatened by AI to some degree. Some of us, and I would say most of us on this call, are at a slight disadvantage. But I want you to stop thinking about yourself and think about the bigger role of humanity in this, right? Where are those 250 million people going to go and find a home if we say that AI is going to displace them, right? Again, I'm not, screaming or shouting on the sky is falling. That's not my job. But the reality is, I look at sales as a function, and my response to the salespeople is survival is with you augmenting your intelligence by embracing AI, embracing it in ways which actually allow you to become a better human being while selling. Let's not fight the future. I'd like to partner with it. And hey, my request is let's figure out a way to get augmented intelligence to amplify the work that we do, not just in sales, but everywhere. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was my slightly rushed talk at the last few minutes. My apologies. I will give the PDF. I have used Gamma for my presentation, so I'm going to send you a Gamma link where my presentation is available for you guys to play around with. Uh, I'm handing it back over to you, Gerald.